A very good evening to you, and if you see me smiling, it's because we're having such a great time here in the studio. Before we come to you, thank you very much for accommodating us in your homes. Thank you for viewing the show, and please call a friend, share this experience with them. My name is Clive Williams, and the show is called Conversations with Clive Williams, and that's me. My checkered past is one of the things we were discussing earlier on, and those of you who have a long memory might recall that I used to host Love Talk. A very fascinating show, I think, because of my listeners at the time who made it interesting. And I earned myself the moniker of the Love Doctor. But those were great times, and but times have changed a little bit. And because of the dramatic change that COVID has brought on us, the pandemic has shifted our axis quite a bit. And, when we developed the show, the concept for the show, the idea was to be able to accommodate everyone. So if you have a story, if you have had a mission that you have started and you are on the way to fulfilling that mission, we want to talk to you because it's important that we talk to people, we have a conversation with people who are doing something to impact the society that we live in a positive way. My guest this evening is sitting right next to me. Usually people just throw it out and say he needs no introduction. But you know what? Even though he's well known, I think he needs an introduction. The introduction that I'm going to give him is somewhat personal because I happen to know him very well. Before I do that, though, let me just remind you that joining us is Professor Gail Lewis, who has been my co-host from we started the show. Professor Lewis is an incredible human being, a speaker, one who hosts and is MC for a number of events here in our community, be it political, social, whether you want to learn the art of speaking or you just want to engage with someone who can help you to navigate this community. Professor Gail Lewis is that kind of person. That's why she's on the show with me. On my immediate right is my friend, Bobby Clarke. Bobby Clarke has accomplished what many of us strive to accomplish. He set some goals a long time ago, and he set his sights on establishing an empire, a radio empire. He's well on his way. And we want to talk to him about that, his vision. We want to talk to him about the road that he has taken, which is the road less traveled, because not all of us have it in us to go through the challenges, the frustrations, the pain, the agony. Sometimes not being able to see family, spend time with family, in order to build an empire. But I really want to salute him. That's why he's on this show, because we had honored him years ago at the big awards, but we have never really sat and spoken so that you can be the fly on the wall and listen to that conversation. So this evening we start that conversation. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you so much. I should carry you to all of my speaking engagements so you can do my intro because I feel like you're you're amazing at this. Yes, man. My friend, I'm glad to be here. And again, when Clive calls, I just respond. I come immediately. So I was told, and I said yes, sir. It was no long talking.
Oh boy, I'm truly honored. But we share families because let's be transparent here. Bobby and I, we go back a long time, and our families, we relate as a family, not just as Bobby and Clive.
Mm-hmm.
And Bobby's first son happens to be my godson.
Yeah.
And the other children say, well, we're your godchildren too.
Yes.
So guess what? That's the way it is.
Yeah.
And, but Bobby has not only been in my world, he has been in the world of a number of people because of his incredible personality. And this is why he has been able to build the kind of business model that he has built. Irie Jam Radio. Let's talk about that first.
Sure.
I'm recalling you going to college and a young bartender. People,
Oh boy.
talk to us about that.
All right, so let me start there then, since we're going so far back.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was so far back. So I was illegally bartending because I was 16. I was in college at Iona. I just came up from Jamaica, and I lied. I said I was 18. I said, all right, fine, then just go to the bar. So I used to do my homework. I used to be on that bar, for nights and days because I was a workaholic. So I was the one that they called because I'm always ready to work. So that was a great introduction to New York City because it was 5 Jamaicans who owned one business. So that in itself is a soap opera.
Soap opera.
All by itself. Club Zamaka in New Rochelle is where that was. And
Yeah.
it was a very good learning experience for many reasons. What not to do and what to do, and how to do life in New York. So it's important that we start there because I used to do a lot of work, and I have to thank somebody called Michael Thelwell, who was one of the owners, one of the 5, and he was a workaholic, and he set me straight about work. It's gonna be important to rest, but rest is not really why you're here. So I ended up just working day and night and thought that was a good way to be. So I just ended up being a workaholic, and I want to thank him personally for that. From there, I decided while in college still to open my own business. I don't know why. So that was my only real job in America, 16 through probably 18. Then from there, I opened Bronx Travel with another friend of mine.
Is that a travel agency?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
About what year was that?
Oh Lord, the year.
Yeah, it was quite a while.
Quite a while. I didn't want to try to think about the years because it'd be lies. I don't remember years very well.
Yeah.
But it was let's say if Irie Jam started in 1993, that would have to been 90.
Yeah, somewhere
Around
90.
there.
Yeah.
Right, 90, and we did a good job. I mean, a lot of back then you had to write tickets for people to fly, so they would come in and buy their tickets. I had to write tickets day and night and collect cash and
Those days, the travel industry was totally different.
it was
right?
totally
It's
different.
night
Totally
and
different.
day. Yeah.
Night and day. There was no online purchases. You have to
Yeah.
go to an agency to buy your tickets. So it was the Spanish company called Nick Lugo's Travel,
Yeah.
and we were a franchise of that.
Wow.
Mark Pinnock and I, and we did well as 2 youngsters just trying to, be successful in America, and we did pretty well. We were robbed at gunpoint once or twice, but it's the Bronx. it comes with the territory. So and one day my life changed there, and it wasn't the robbery either. It was a broadcaster out of Jamaica called Milford Edwards.
Who happened to have gone to school with me.
Get out of here!
Yeah, Milford went to Calabar.
Yes, he did
Oh.
mention that. Wow.
Yeah.
So Milford walked in. I don't know who Milford is. And says, he is a radio man, and he's give me his history at JVC as a Rastafarian,
Right.
and said, well, listen, he's found a way to pipe Jamaican radio into New York, and I said, what? Because at the time, I mean, we love our legends here in New York, but the quality of radio wasn't always the best.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, sure. I mean, I'm interested. Let me hear more. And he said, all we have to do is convince a radio station in Jamaica to be a part of it. He already has him and Junior Jawara Blake
Yes.
had airtime on WVIP. And I said, well, this is great. Who do you want me to go convince?
Yeah.
And then I jumped on a plane because when I was leaving Jamaica back in the day, Irie FM had just started, and Irie FM was amazing addition to the landscape because they only played reggae music,
Yeah.
It was a revolutionary stance. So I said, all right, let me go talk to Irie FM, and again, just being crazy and
Young.
young. I flew to Montego Bay, drove to Ocho Rios, and drove into Irie FM and said I want to speak to the owner. And no, the other life-changing person was of my life is Carl Young, the owner of Irie FM.
Yeah.
No, I can't say what he said to me on air because that was rather rude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's say expletive, not going to carry my thing to foreign and contaminate it with your foreign ways. But what I did, I stayed there for 2 weeks and went there every day to say I'm still here and I'm not leaving.
Persistent.
Yes.
You wore him down.
Yes. Till he introduced me to his GM at the time was Mr. Clyde Mackenzie. And Clyde said, all right, let's see what you have. And then from there, the rest is history, where we went on air for the first time 1993 in October, I want to say 17th, if I remember. And this is when my career was galvanized because Milford was here, we flew down the equipment, and that by the time was had to put in ISDN lines, and it was a heavy lift.
Sure.
And we did it. And when we did it through VIP at 12 midnight, one of the first shows that we did, when I first had to come here and convince Pat McKay to be a part of the team, and she was, okay. It was like, yes, all right. And we had Milford with Pat here and Big A out of Jamaica, Ainsworth. We're still on Irie now. And the first show we did, I remember people calling and say, is this real? I can hear Jamaica for real? I want to hear. And you had mothers crying because they heard their sons or daughters for the first time in forever.
This was before WhatsApp. And,
Right,
being able to, texting.
Right. And before all of that. So, people who are now here illegally and can't go back to Jamaica and there's no real, connection. So we made those connections. And of course, you had the lady saying, send the money for the baby. In Jamaica. Which was,
And the school fees.
and the school fees. So, but just the connection and being able to hear, we had White River Reggae Bash, where we broadcast live from there into it, and it's Silk Live into New York and different artists, and it was Gregory Isaacs. So the New York audience here, and to say they were appreciative is an understatement, and it was a big deal. So we just said, all right, well, let's do radio. And we grew it until the point where Irie Jam became a household name because we connected them to Jamaica, and we gave them back their identity, which is very important for all our diasporans here. So, I mean, I could have made a lot more money selling houses and cars, but I keep telling people I'm a civil servant. I live to serve the people of the diaspora. So when because of what Carl Young did and opened us up to that kind of exposure and that connection, we found that it was more a labor of love at 12 midnight on a Saturday night than anything else. But then we started making some money. So we're like, oh, wait, we can make money with this? All right. So it became a big part of what we did. We left Irie not because we wanted to, but because he had moved, because we were so popular, he moved us down to 3 o'clock in the day, which was great. until he got tons of money from the Caymanas Park horse racing.
Horse racing.
And in Jamaica, that's like,
That's
church.
king. Yeah, yeah, that's king.
Right. And then we went to Fame, and we did it with Fame and RJR for a while.
And by the way, Fame is my old alma mater.
That much I know.
Yeah.
I know that also.
Yeah.
I brought your name up recently, and they said, yes, Clive is still around the ice, man. So they want to speak to you.
Yeah.
They want to speak to you.
Yeah.
So we did that, and then 28 years later, we've managed to own most of the prime time on WVIP. We have the most listened to radio programs on WVIP. We've connected with major advertisers, major industry heads. We've created a major platform.
As close as we are, right? Never asked you this question. You said something that was very profound. You're a civil servant.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd like to see myself in that place as well. But I still, I'm a broadcaster, right? With a voice like yours, you never sought. You were involved in radio, but you never sought to become a
Yeah,
broadcaster
the on
yourself.
air, the
Gail-
behind the.
Gail, let me tell you, and he's very convincing. And I'll tell you why. So as a youngster, and even through my early adult life, and even though sometimes I stutter, and I always thought as a stammer guy, that I wouldn't be able to do radio. And I just never. And then once you got into radio, I'm the guy in the back. So I have 14 broadcasters.
Yeah.
So they speak on my behalf whenever I need to. So I've never, because of the insecurities in the beginning, I'm not. You're a broadcaster. You're a seasoned veteran broadcaster, and I've never tried to get behind the mic.
Back office.
You've been encouraged, though.
I've heard
Yeah.
people say it, but yes, but no.
So you are back office.
Definitely back office all the time.
Well, it's amazing because people would often get the impression that one who has a profile such as yours would be happy to get a microphone in front of him. Yet you're always reticent to grab a microphone.
Right. You remind me of Russell Simmons on his show. He only came out to say goodnight,
night.
and he had put the whole thing
Of
together.
course, Russell
Yeah.
is my idol. Of course, and honestly, I think one of my other jobs is to manage talent and to be able to see talent, put talent forth, and have them shine. And I get joy from that. So me being in front would be taking away from a talent I could put in front. So I'm not always encouraged to that.
We're the name. We know Irie, and for all our viewers and listeners, it might Irie is a word that might have a strange ring to it, to foreign ears. To Jamaicans, it's just an amazing word.
Yeah.
Why choose Irie? What does it really
No, man,
convey?
it came directly from the origins, which was Irie FM. So Irie FM and the show here that we were on was called Culture Jam, I think. So we just took the names of the shows and put them together. And because they were so strong in Irie in Jamaica and Culture Jam here, we just put it together. And Irie says to a lot of people who we are. If any Jamaican anywhere in the world and they hear Irie, they're going to gravitate to that because that's a word that means, everything's all right. And it's a Jamaican word.
Yeah.
So, I think it was an easy choice of words just mushed together. And it came across very well. We've been accused of not being Caribbean enough because after we started in Jamaica, we tried and still are, catering to the entire Caribbean because we're one. And I think there've been times when I had wanted to do other Irie names for other things, and I was said no, you already have Irie Jam and Irie Jamboree and other things, and I'm like, all right, no problem. So the company we have now, the main company, the mother company, is called Caribbean Global Network, for that reason.
For the global.
For the global part of it, and the, to make it work.
We're gonna talk about that, but we want to get some kitchen sink things out of the way first. I mean, what kind of prepared you for this, though, Bobby? You were in the travel industry, young guy out of college. You didn't quite know exact. Did you have a plan? Did you start?
What?
Strategic plan.
No, I didn't. I don't want to lie and say yes. Of course, no.
You didn't have a 10-point business plan
not at that point.
with a PowerPoint.
Not at that point. No.
And you know something? I'm glad you said that because there's something I'm getting at here. Go on.
You know what? I have to give credit to people like yourself, who I respect and regard in the industry that I am attracted to, and I looked at people like Clive, and there's the Gil Baileys, and there's the list of them, out of Jamaica and New York, that I said, well, if they can do it, and I am now in love with this thing called broadcasting and media, and if Viacom can be for all the people who they want to serve, then I want to do the same for my people and for everybody around the world who are Caribbean centric. So it was a more of, after getting into it, I said, well, clearly, this is the way to go. I mean, my mother used to work on a switchboard in Jamaica. My father's an entertainer. So I'm always drawn to anything that comes with entertainment or to do with media or to do with a microphone. So, I said, all right. And this is really young. I mean, honestly, after the Bronx Travel Experience, I said, well, what do you want to do next? You're a businessman. I always thought that much of myself, that I don't like to work for anybody. So, I just don't like to be told when to get up. So I said, you know what, let me see what businesses make sense. And this one just fell into my lap. I said, well, this makes me happy. So, that's one thing that my dad taught me. Only do what makes you happy. And I think that's a life lesson that is always resonated with me. And I tell my kids, no, if it doesn't make you happy, then don't do it. Find something else to do that makes you happy. Your soul smile is what I normally say.
So, Gail, his dad and I are old friends, you know that.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, Winston used to do the circuit, and he's a singer.
Yeah, entertainer, right?
That's something I don't want to speak on your behalf. Did you inherit any of that talent?
Not at all. Not even a smidgen.
You sing like your mom.
Yes, let me tell you. But I have a sister who did. Her name is Joelle. The world might know her as Jovi Rockwell.
Yeah.
And she's amazing, and she's still on that path. So we encourage her.
Where It's At did a cover.
I remember that.
With Jody.
Yeah,
years and years ago.
Yes, man. Yes, man. And Jovi is now mother of 3, and she just got a single on the Transylvania cartoon. What's it called? Hotel Transylvania. Hotel Transylvania. She has a song on the upcoming next one.
Wow.
Interesting.
So we're very proud of her, and we're encouraged by her.
Yeah, Jovi Rockwell.
Yeah. So
yeah. We
and that is proud.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes.
Yeah.
My guest is Bobby Clarke, chairman of the CGN Group. Irie Jam is the one company that stands out in your minds because Irie Jam has brought us. And I want to talk to you about what Irie Jam did during the pandemic. It stands out in my mind when people were at their worst point. And I can tell you, I was there. I got to, we're housebound now, remember. And your talents, on-air talents like Roy, DJ Roy, and Dubmaster Chris, There are others, but these two stand out. Why? Because they brought a joy. They brought an energy. They brought a vitality to the radio in that pandemic that lifted the spirits of people. And I think whenever I drive in anyone else's car, and usually that's in Annette's car, right? I don't get into a lot of other cars. It's always on 93.5.
It's one of my presets.
God bless.
And I only have 6.
Hold
So
on.
that's huge.
About 3 years ago, I don't want to. I said to her, "Why every time I come in your car, it's on Irie Jam?" She says, "Because it's entertaining."
Yeah.
And so, okay, so I'm a little bit different. I'm all over and I listen mostly to news. That's how I'm wired.
Right.
But I just surreptitiously put it on 93.5 and I started listening. Good for me that I really started indulging instead of flipping. I became a regular listener. And during the pandemic, I can tell you, it helped me retain some of my brain cells, because the music, the vibrations was really outstanding. What were you saying to your people at that time? Because I'm sure that they were impacted by it, they were hurt by it. How did you keep the morale together?
You know what? And this is important for people to know. The Irie Jam dynamic is not a normal one, meaning that the people on Irie Jam that you hear every day, we're not employee, boss, not people who work for money to go home. We're actually a family. So when Roy has a headache, we all have a headache. We all try and fix what Roy's problem is. When Dobby gets pulled over by the police, we have to go fix Dobby's problem. And, it's not really a business. It's more of a different model of business that we've created. So we're family orientated as a company, and of course my accountants and my other directors don't like how it was built, but it was built that way. It's not my fault. It's just built of the love of family. So
How did you foster that? How
it
did that
wasn't
come
easy.
to be?
It wasn't easy. So here's what happened, and I want to give them credit, meaning give Louis Grant and Cinta Shea, and as the directors, and DJ Roy and Dub Master. There was Killer Boo. There was Jabba and Cali B and Irwin Clare and people who are the same mindset, which is the best way to start. There's been years where we couldn't pay them. There was not enough money coming in to do that. And they said, all right, no problem. When they need help financially or help period in life, we're there. Meaning we fly to Roy's dad's funeral. We are a part of everything that happens. Our children grew together as family.
The next generation of Irie Jam.
Right. So DJ Roy's son RJ produces his show. My son is the head of production and produces shows. My daughter is general manager to Janice Julian, so who is in the COO. So we've built a family of now they're actual owners. So now that we're growing and we're making sure that we're doing things differently now. Those times that they put in and that effort that they're being rewarded by what they put in.
We're going to talk about your doing things differently in a minute, because that's very interesting to come back to. My guest, Bobby Clarke. He is the chairman of the CGN Group, more well known as the head of Irie Jam Radio. We'll continue this conversation after the break. We'll come right back. I'm Clive Williams.
You get off the plane and you're like, wow, I'm alive.
You have to breathe because it's breathtaking.
Is the center of the world.
Brooklyn, Manhattan, Staten Island, Queens.
They have the Rockaways, the beach, the Flushing Meadow Park.
Small places that you never think exist.
From there, we'll go up to the Bronx.
Nature
Brooklyn, got Coney Island. You get to happen upon things.
Yes.
Manhattan never gets outclassed.
Chelsea, Soho. Hay cosas ya de lujo. Es un área bien fancy, ¿me entiendes?
Go to the Empire State Building, go to the top of Rockefeller Center.
Staten Island.
Staten Island, there's something for everybody.
New York City's an awesome place to come with family.
You got things for kids, you got things for adults.
Even like museums have amazing story times.
That's the beauty of this organic city. It creates new flavors of what once was coming from another country.
All of it. Everyone's welcome. The biggest rainbow in the world.
Ελάτε στη Νέα Υόρκη.
You know, a lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. And I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
New York State's largest African American Chamber of Commerce, known as LIAACC, is now accepting new membership candidates. LIAACC has appeared on WABC, Here and Now, NBC's Positively Black, WLIW21, FIOS1, and in Long Island Business News. Membership consists of a variety of men and women of distinction who have been bestowed some of the most prestigious awards in the region. We host monthly membership meetings and signature events, including the Long Island African American Business Expo, Annual Health Fair, Ladies of LIAACC Annual Women's History Month program, and our annual Black History Month art exhibition. Join by simply logging on to our easy new membership sign-up portal at www.liaacc.org.
So soon we're back. I couldn't wait. You know, Bobby has really hit a chord. You're just joining us? Thanks. Call a friend and let them tune in to what we're doing here. Let me tell you the platform that we're on. You can, first of all, follow us on Instagram at Our World Media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Our World Media One. Our website is ourworldmedianetwork.com. So you can tune in. We're live on Roku. We're live on Facebook. And we're on Spotify. You're going to be getting us as a podcast on most of the major streaming services very shortly. This is a work, a mission that I think I must engage you in. We need to talk to each other in our community, and that's why one of my really faithful friends, Professor Gail Lewis, is here because she's engaged with young people, 18, 19. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So we realize that we're in a place in our community now that we've got to thread the needle, meaning we've got to start impacting on young people. And one of the things that Irie Jam Radio has accomplished over the years is they've been able to make that crossover, that transition, reaching young people, because young people are tuned in to culture and music. But on the question of culture and music, Bobby, you mentioned the culture of the organization that is Irie Jam, the kind of culture that you've built, sustained over the years. One of family. That's an amazing business model. I can't remember the name of the guy right now. Gail slips out of my mind, who went against all the grain, literally, and started paying his employees way above minimum salary. The name of the company escapes me now, but I remember reading the story and being so blown away. And this guy was treated like a pariah by other businesses and other companies, right? Because he dared to pay his employees more than what they're worth. Now, Bobby's not exactly doing that, but what you're doing is giving people the peace of mind, the joy of knowing that they can pursue whatever it is they love doing, which is radio, which is serving the community, in an environment where they, if there's an emergency, if there's a situation, they know that they're taken care of. Somebody cares. Okay, but then you said having accomplished that, and now that the company is making a little money, are you going to change that culture?
No. And I say no quickly because it's important to grow as we were born, and to grow from strength to strength. So we can't give everybody shares that comes on board now, but we can introduce them to the culture of Irie Jam, and that culture is a family-based culture. So when you come to work, we also want to know your kids' names. We also want you to put your pictures of your kids and family members on your desk. We want you to be a part of our family. So if it also inspires the best out of people. I've found that because of how we've started, we hire, and then nobody leaves. Nobody wants to go anywhere. So we get stuck with temps, because they're happy with the culture of the business, and it's important that when you have happy employees, you track the progress and you see the growth. So if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't change a thing.
Seriously, who do you listen to? If for example, someone who is very influential in your life should say, Bobby, I think you're doing the wrong thing here. Business is business, and the whole idea of a business, a corporation the size of yours, is the bottom line. Money is what you should be concerned about. And that person is very influential in your life, very convincing. What do you say to that person? Having built a culture like you have built and seen the results of that culture, what do you say to?
Well, for the first time in my life, I have a board now, so I get this all the time. Where they're saying, "Well, Sir Clarke, how is this going to work?" I think what shuts everybody up is success and growth and results. And if it was a case where, because we all know what the textbook says to do, we all have the roads to follow that was paved by the corporate giants. Yeah. And we see it and we say, okay, that's going to work because that's been tried and proven. And we have to, of course, follow that in some way. But if we don't build our own textbook, then, why are we here?
Profound. It's amazing that, look, a lot of young entrepreneurs might be watching this, right? Whether you're young or not, doesn't matter. You want to do something. You want to take that first step because you want that sense of freedom to create and to set your own targets, set your own goals. You're listening to someone who has done that, and he hasn't quite done it by the textbook. So I'm going to encourage you, kind of put your textbook aside and look around you and see what is absolutely needed in your community. And, make a decision to take a risk, because this is what it is. What a risk.
Oh, boy. Don't let me start. So there's been many a years where the results were that we made no money, where we're already paying the bills, and family needs to eat. And what I've learned is pivoting is real, meaning that we didn't plan to do concerts and events, but you know what? We said, all right, well, you gotta pay the bills, so let's take a chance over here. And risk taking is clearly what we do best. So
absolutely.
We said, all right. So when we started Irie Jamboree, as a concert series.
Are you reading my mind here?
I think I am.
Because that brought so much joy to people for quite a while.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was along the same vein. If you're a civil servant and you're listening to the people who you serve, and they say they want to see Barris Hammond and Buju Banton, and they want to be in touch with their culture and their traditions and their heritage, who are we to tell them no?
And they want to do it here in New York and not get on a plane.
Of course.
Yeah.
And we're again, I'm definitely Caribbean and Jamaican, but I'm a die-hearted New Yorker. Mm-hmm. This is where I was tempered. So when a New Yorker who takes a dollar van on Merrick Boulevard and says, I want to come to an event over here, I said, okay. So just like the same tenacity that got me Irie Jam from Carl Jung, we said, okay.
Montego Bay, yeah.
Yeah. I said, okay, well, let's do the same here. So we got into Roy Wilkins Park. We found ways to speak to, again, I want to thank Clive again. There's boards in a district, what do you call them?
Yeah, the community boards.
Community boards. That if you don't have friends and you don't have a voice, then you have nothing to gain.
Absolutely.
And I learned that the hard way. And I've had friends like you, Klein, to pave the way for this to happen. So we had to go through a lot. I won't say names, but one lady told me that she doesn't want any dirty Jamaicans coming to her neighborhood and urinating on our front lawn. I said, well, okay. Well, we'll have to find a way not to have the unit on your front lawn.
And there are a lot of groups
Yes.
who do urinate on front lawns who are not Jamaican. And I have seen this with my own eyes.
Right.
So please don't put any particular name
No,
on there.
no,
exactly.
I will
right?
not.
No, not you. But I mean, people do that.
In general,
yeah.
no, I know.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we had 20,000 people in that park for different years, celebrating with no major incidents.
Right.
No, not even small incidents.
And people bring their whole families.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And it's a family gathering.
Precisely. You created a family forum.
And the thing is, once you galvanize who you are and show what you're about, then the police department will respect you. Then the community board will respect you. And it comes with standing up for what you believe in and for the people that you're serving. So we've been in tons of meetings where they're saying no, it can't happen. I said, well, okay, we'll praise the Lord and keep going, and we still get a lot of fight, but it's easier now because they know who we are and they've seen the track records, and it's a lot of work put in, but it was survival mode. It wasn't me saying let's go do a concert because we want to just do a concert. We had to create income. We had to find ways to feed our families and to keep our team paid. And also the community of Southeast Queens, it's a very, very hard political landscape. And to now win them over and get them to be a part of that event and put them on the stage and it showed me different levels of handling business.
I have three comments. First, you spoke of the political landscape.
Right.
I remember at an Irie Jamboree, John Liu came out, and I was backstage, and right before he went out, he said, "What should I say? What?" A whole group of Caribbean Americans out front. He himself is Asian. Maybe he's not as familiar as maybe we aren't with his culture. What should I say? And I said, greet them with Irie. I said, ask them, are you feeling Irie? And he went out and he said, and God love him, he took that microphone from you, Bobby Clarke, and he went out to that group of people on this big stage that you had erected for Irie Jamboree, and he said, are you feeling Irene? It was great. It was perfect. I will never forget that. And I fell to pieces. I was standing right on the edge of the stage, and that is just the most hysterical thing. But you open it up to local politicians, to politicians statewide, to politicians nationwide. Driving over here, the second thing I wanted to say, driving over here, I was listening to Selvina Brooks on 93 on Irie Jam.
Right.
And she was talking about the Rockaways and Southeast Queens and Merrick Boulevard and Linden Boulevard and all of the different corridors, business corridors, and what she's doing for our community. And I thought to myself, she's of the community and she's on Irie Jam Radio. And I did not know her parents are Jamaican.
Yeah.
Who knew?
There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
And the third thing, I wanted to just kind of thread that needle. You went from the radio station to big concerts like Irie Jamboree, and now you are CGN. What are the other business arms in CGM?
Oh, okay. Well, let's start with the new project.
Yeah.
We realized that we need to duplicate what we've done in New York, and we need to expand what we've done in New York. The purchasing of a radio station in New York is a little hard. This is the biggest radio market in the world, in America for sure. And what the conglomerates do now, they don't sell it anymore. They swap them out. So if you have 15 stations in Idaho and wherever, they come together and say, well, I'll take yours in New York, I'll take yours in LA.
Right.
So it leaves us out of the picture to grow and purchase here. So we formulated a growth plan that involves us doing the further galvanizing our Caribbean community globally, because it makes sense for us to keep the magic that we found in New York and expand it. So the first step was to buy a radio station in Jamaica, which we just did. So the Bridge 99, we'll wear the shirt so you can see it. Bridge 99.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was bad.
Oh, by the way, do you have one of those shirts, Jane?
I will after the show.
Okay. Well, I'll share your optimism and say I will after the show, because I didn't get one before the show.
I would have been wearing it right now. It's supporting my
I drove
bridge.
here in a rush, and I make sure you get the shirts.
Annette didn't get one. Michelle didn't get one. Did you get one, Stone?
No.
Yeah. All right,
They're coming. I promise.
Okay.
So the Bridge 99 FM out of Jamaica was a part of the vision, where we now, from out of Jamaica, connect to, of course, New York, Irie Jam first, and we're doing that. But then we connect to London and Canada in November, and then there's Ghana, and there's, of course, Florida and Atlanta, where the major hubs are.
Yeah.
So we're doing that now. So what we had to do first is convince the government of Jamaica to give us a license to operate as a. They're like, why? And then they realized the work we've done here, and they said, okay, fine. So it wasn't that hard. It was, like everything else comes with it. It's movement. So once we did that, the 6-phase expansion plan of Irie Jam began. And the vision is to create Caribbean global network. Now, with that, the global network starts with radio, because that's what we do first. But then we have TV starting in 2022, early. From out of TV, we have we've already shot 400 episodes of content, of Caribbean content.
Wow.
That we'll be launching.
Is that original content?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So we've worked with the Casa. Ras Casa is a creative director from early that has done great things, and he's leading that charge for us, and we were getting that done. Then we start shooting here in New York, early 2022, and in the pockets. So you get news, information, and you're a part of a network. Because what's happening here, we sit here in Queens, but we have no idea what's happening in Florida.
All right.
We actually have no idea what's happening in
Canada,
in Canada, or the Bronx, because we don't really get. News 12 tells us what's happening locally, but it's not connected. So if there's a soccer match happening in Atlanta with Jamaica versus somebody else, we have no eyes.
Right.
We can't see it. So we want to connect all of the actual major hotspots with our network. So a network is going to include a CNN-based looking thing that gives you news. Then with the content that we're shooting, it's going to be more like a Netflix-esque looking
On
platform.
demand, you can just
So
pull
you
up
can
what you
watch
want.
the history of Jamaica, history of Canada, history of Trinidad and Barbados, and you can know, touch and feel where you're from and all that stuff. So, and there's movies coming and documentaries coming. And
what kind of buy-in are you getting from the other territories? Trinidad, Barbados. You might not be at liberty to speak in detail, but
I can't go into it. But there's no pushback. There's nobody saying no, I don't want to. That they're like, well, how may it work?
Or can you make it work?
Yes, and they're curious and they're ready. what I'm getting is, all right, so what do we get? Which is fine, it's business.
Of course, yeah.
And I'm saying, well, here's how we do the revenue split and all that stuff. So we're making great headway. And the good thing is, which I must say is new to me, there is almost a love for what we're doing. There's a support base. Let's do this. Let's get it done. This is a great idea.
There's some passion.
Yeah,
right.
This passion is heavy, and I think it's important that we embrace that, because it's very rare that you see people. I want to call them the Irie Jamites. I want to call them that. They will
Irie Jam Angels.
Right. They will fight, and they will attack you in the street if it means helping us to get it done. They'll bake cakes, they'll do whatever it takes, and I think that is most heartwarming for me as we now go into this expansion mode.
Here's the thing.
I'm sorry. I want to know more. Where can we find this? And we know in the next 2 years, is this going to be an online platform? Is it something that we can download an app? Is this going to be on our Samsung TVs as an app? Is it by subscription? Is it free? I'm excited.
Right.
I want to know more.
So let's start with, it's already online. The Bridge 99 is up and running.
Right.
Let me quickly give you a rundown of who's on the Bridge 99. Of course, Irie Jam, the jockeys are there already. But there's Oliver Samuels, there's ex-Prime Minister Bruce Golding.
You mean Oliver Samuels from the that one VHS tape that everyone has that made a dub of in the 1990s that gave to their friends?
So, yes, that one. But he's a amazing talent that I'm surprised nobody else has used him in this capacity before.
Right.
So Prime Minister Bruce Golding, former Prime Minister of Jamaica, he's on. Ronnie Thwaites, as a veteran broadcaster, is on. We have Ragashanti, we have Richie B, we have Nikki Z, we have Delano from Renaissance, we have Rory Stone Love, Kurt Riley, Tony Rebel has a show.
Okay.
This is the Bridge lineup, which is really an amazing lineup to have on the radio station all at once. And the thing about that is that they're asking us, why did you do like that? It's crazy. I mean, why don't you just play music and do, well, it's the Irie Jam formula. Irie Jam formula is, just like Clyde said in the beginning, we have to cater to the listener, listen to our audience. So if our audience wants talk, there's a group of talk on the format. Yeah. There's music with of course, nobody plays better music than Kurt Riley and Stone Love. And so there's a veteran called Jack Scorpio, who comes on the Saturday mornings, and his audience is ridiculous. They just love his old style and what he does. So it's we're putting together an all-star team that we export from out of Jamaica, because I tell everybody that we're an export in the business of exporting content. So we're content creation, exporting of it, just like we do any kind of commodity. So we're doing well for the first 3 months. There's only been 3 months that we've been on here, and we've made a mark. So I'm very proud of that. You know.
No, I know that the big challenge, and we're winding down here now. I think we maybe have 3 minutes left. So let's. Where are you going to be getting? You and I did a magazine maybe sometime last year, talking about the revenue part of the business, right? Where are we going to get the advertising dollars from in black communities and communities of color? The challenge is getting advertisers to buy in. What's the plan for that?
Well, here's what I've realized with Irie Jam and other companies that we've done. The key is to create great content.
Absolutely.
The key is the content, and I have a lot of people complaining that they're not getting support and they're not getting the monies because of whatever reason. And I believe black, white, pink, if the content is good, they're going to buy. And they're going to buy because they want to be a part of the growth and be a part of something that is impressing the rest of the world. So the reasons why we go for the big talent and for the things, people who will connect to the TV and the radio, is because if the numbers are the numbers. So advertising is just numbers. If we have the biggest audience, we're reaching the most eyes and ears, then it's inevitable that if you want to get your product sold in, where would you
They
go?
will come. Build it and they will come.
Right. So we have the New York City Department of Health is on board. We've had Burger King, AT&T, and everybody coming on, because when you say Caribbean market in New York, you don't have to look too far. It's going to be us.
Absolutely.
You know. So I'm not competing with anybody. I'm not trying to besides myself. So whatever we create is created better, and speak to the politicians and speak to whoever has decision making capacity in our communities and push them.
You're working at a crazy pace right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's wind down a little bit on, are you making sure that you get enough rest, getting enough time for yourself?
And you started by
Self-care.
saying you learned business from a workaholic. So fast forward 30 years, are you still that workaholic now? And what are you doing to, I guess, kind of wind that down as we wind down?
Well, first of all, Clive cannot tell me about
I know,
slowing
right?
down, first of all.
I
'Cause
know.
Even in the gym, this man is killing me. And I can't keep up with him in the gym.
Yeah.
But I wanna thank the Lord for sending my wife. Her name is Cinta Shea. And if she even thinks I'm overworked or overworking, she's pulling the plug. So I'm actually a slave to her. So I work hard, and then she tells me when to stop. And so I'm good.
She's a good woman.
I'm good. Yes. So I'm okay.
What is it that you like to do? What makes you happy?
You know what? I like to be around my children, which is strange old man thing to say, but I like to see my kids grow. I like to see them progress. I like to be a part of their lives and to be. I'm a family guy now, so it really is a pleasure to see their growth and give them help and see things grow.
You know, you're doing something that a lot of older guys have failed to do, and something that I have been very concerned with. There are personalities who have gone before that have never left a legacy because they never brought a youngster in and said, look, I bequeath this to you. Learn this.
Learn the business.
And carry this on. Now, you're doing something. Your daughter is general manager. Your son is in production, right? And they will, maybe in a short time, be taking over the business.
Pray.
Yeah, and this is something that we really lack in our community. My guest is Bobby Clarke, and he's the chairman of CGN, Caribbean Global Network. You're going to be hearing a lot about this network in the weeks and months to come. And I'm going to be having Bobby back in some way, shape, or form. I'm Clive Williams. This is Conversations with me and Gail Lewis, Professor Gail Lewis. I want to thank you so very much for joining us this evening. I hope you have picked up the phone. I hope you've told a friend about the show. We come to you every Saturday evening from 6 to 7, live, okay, from the studio. It's ourworldmedianetwork.com, ourworldmedianetwork.com. So just go on, get this. If you just weren't listening or watching, you can pick this up. If you should have seen it on Roku Live as well. I'm Clive Williams, and I want to wish you a very pleasant rest of your weekend. I want to thank my guest, Bobby Clarke, for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank Gail.
Thank you, guys. Remember where it's at, everyone. Pick it up wherever you get your free periodicals.
Thank you very much, Gail. See you. Take care.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.